and negotiate your dream sponsorships. As you can see, I'm streaming from a different location today. This stream was a little actually impromptu. I wasn't planning on doing it, but then I decided, you know what? I'm in a beautiful place right now. I'm feeling very inspired. And they had this really cool workstation set up here to allow me to stream. So first things first, please let me know how the audio is, how the video is. I'm using this like webcam right now that's on the workstation, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going. And I'm trying to stream on Instagram right now, and I want to make sure if that's working. I'm not sure if it is, but I guess we'll see. So let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Let's see where the chat is. Let's see here. We've got Max tuning in. What's going on, Max? Saying, Justin, thank you so much. You're hitting it out of the ballpark with the thumbnails. Thank you. I appreciate it. I made this thumbnail myself, actually. Usually my colleague Russell helps me out with the thumbnails, but I made this one myself. So glad to hear that I've still got the touch. We've got Scott tuning in. What's up, Scott? Happy New Year, man. We've got Growing Green podcast. Let me actually pull up Instagram to see if this is working, because I don't think it is. I'm trying to, it's weird. I use this software called Restream to go live on Instagram, but I don't think it's working. So I'm just gonna like open up Instagram on my phone right now and just start the live. Why don't I do that? Here we go. Boom. There we go. Okay, here we go. I'm just going with it, guys. All right. We are live on Instagram as well. We're live on, what do we got? YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Instagram. Good to see you all here. Today's topic is 2024 Big Brand Budget Blueprint. Anyone a fan of alliteration? I was like titling it, and I was like, let me add some more B's in here. This time of year, we are still in the first days of 2024. And a lot of people are making their New Year's resolutions. They're ready to hit the ground running, start making some of those fat stacks on brand partnerships. I tweeted a couple days ago that don't be fearful, or don't be concerned if your pitches to brands go unanswered for at least another 10 to 12 days. What I found when I ran the agency for many years, and I was a pitching machine, right? Because I was out there hustling every single day, pitching agencies, pitching brands. And there really is this like 30-day black hole that emails fall into around the holidays. So it starts around December 15th, and what I found, and goes until about January 12th to the 15th, that people are just checked out. Like people's are still on vacation, or their kids haven't quite gone back to school yet, so their kids are at home. So most people just kind of check out, and so don't be surprised if any pitches or emails that you're sending to brands for updates on stuff, it will go unanswered until next week, essentially. So let me know in the comments, like where you're tuning in from. Let's see. Max is saying, where is Justin saying, looks like a hotel. It's not a hotel. It's a home rental. We usually don't share where we are traveling until we get home. Just a safety thing that we've learned along the way. And so I'll let you know where we, no, this is definitely not a green screen. I could go back and like touch this. This is a blind right here. I'll move the blind to prove it to you. So yeah, this is a blind. So, we got April. See, it's not a green screen. Come here, baby.
Hi, friends. How are you?
Come sit on my lap.
Happy New Year.
We've got Instagram up here too.
I know, I'm on your Instagram.
Oh, you're on my Instagram.
I was watching you.
You have any 2024 blessings to give people? You're my blessing for 2024.
Like, what do you mean blessing?
I don't know. We're just talking about people. A lot of people start 2024 wanting to make resolutions. Hit their income goals, et cetera, et cetera. What do you want to start? What are your resolutions? Do you have any resolutions or goals for 2024, honey?
Well, for my blessing or my wish for you is you get to define what success looks like to you. It doesn't have to be like a monetary thing. It could be working from home, freedom of time, whatever it is. But I hope that you crush your goals this year. Yeah, because honestly, when I look at a number, like for me, it's a lifestyle that I want, it's the freedom of time that I want. It's not, I want to be rich and I want to look rich and I want everyone to know that I'm rich, because that's not how I live. I just want to be free and have freedom of time and be able to travel like we do. Yeah.
It's funny. I love that because we were driving down here to the house rental,
Mm-hmm.
and I told April, like, I will never take for granted that we have not had to commute for over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have a job, like there's these intangibles that, yeah, you can make all these revenue goals, but there's something about working for yourself, something about those types of things where you're able to go to every, sporting event for your kids or be present in their lives for the various things. And, I understand not everyone is able to do that, but like striving towards that, the fact that we've been able to make that a reality for us for the last decade, I'll never take that for granted. Because I think that that's one of the most, like, money, who cares? It's like, yes, it affords a great livelihood and all that stuff, but like it's those moments I feel like that are most important. I feel like,
Yeah.
So
we do need
anyways.
money to live this life, though.
Yeah, we do need money to
Yeah,
stay in an
Happy New
amazing
Year.
place like this. Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
I'll be
cameo.
back later.
Yes, if
I'm
you hear
editing a
anything,
reel.
okay, she's editing
I'm
a reel.
editing a reel.
See, we still work. We still work on vacation, right? But we've got Kesman Lowrider tuning in the Instagram, social media esser, Wander Russ. We've got Real Chris Ryan, Life Beyond Infertility. Good to see you here. We've got Garden Glow Up. Good to see you all here on Instagram. Yeah, Max said, yeah, oh my God, I don't mind driving. I hate traffic. Freedom is the ultimate perk, 100%. We've got Kaylee, we've got Fourthborn Child, refreshingly COZ, Christopher. Good to see you here as well. All right, so you're talking about, how do we get on brands' radars starting in the new year? So let me talk a little bit about how planning works when you are negotiating with the brand or wanting to collaborate with the brand, hit the ground running right at the beginning of the year. So a couple things. Number one, brands do reset their budgets oftentimes in January, which is their fiscal cycle, right? So usually what a fiscal cycle means is it runs from January to December, and they basically close their books from a tax standpoint and a budgetary planning perspective, December 31st. So for a lot of brands, everything that happened last year is like in the rear view. And in fact, a lot of brands start planning the 2024 like months ago, right? So, it's even sometimes for a large brand who's doing, multiple millions of dollars in revenue, tens of millions, they're planning out this thing starting in, June, July of last year. Not every brand though. And so I always like to give kind of caveats to the advice that I give, because, you may reach out to a brand right now and they may say, we already have our Q1 budget locked. And you're thinking, how is that possible? The new year just started. Well, it's because the larger the brand, the more time it takes to plan their marketing strategy, and frankly, deploying huge amounts of marketing capital is pretty complex. So if you think about it, let's say like you and me, let's say we're a small business, right? We can just boot up Facebook or Meta Ads Manager, and yeah, we're spending a couple $100 a day, maybe even a couple $1,000s a day, tens of thousands of dollars a month, this up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, this type of thing. Most of us are not there, but but once you start getting into the millions of dollars a month, tens of millions of dollars a month, which a lot of these very large conglomerate multinational brands, I mean, that's what they're spending. If they're spending, a car brand, for example, they're spending billions of dollars a year. And so you can't just boot up Facebook Ads Manager and deploy capital like that. It doesn't work like that, right? And so you have to be more strategic. You have to, talk with your channel partners, it's called often, which is, they are spending millions of dollars on a lot of the social media platforms, but they're also deploying marketing capital in other channels too, whether it's broadcast TV, out of home, like billboards and bus benches, et cetera, magazine ads, a lot of magazines, like you have to be, actually buying those ads 9-12 months in advance. They're planning it that far out. So it's pretty crazy. And so it's just really important perspective to have when you are reaching out, especially to larger brands, that you can't get frustrated. You have to understand what's happening behind the scenes of like, it is kind of complex, deploying that type of capital. And so they may have carved out a certain budget to do an influencer activation. And in fact, if there is ever a large brand that reaches out and says, okay, yeah, we've got this quick turnaround time, has to happen in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something. Yeah, they may be reaching out to you then for something that's happening in a couple of weeks, but that activation, that campaign was planned months ago, 3-6 months ago. It was on their roadmap. They're just now reaching out to you. And in fact, that's actually a really interesting thing to talk about is like, okay, like a lot of the campaign has already probably been fully baked by the time it gets to you. So the outreach to you is coming at the very tail end of the planning process for this activation. So they may have worked 3 to 6 months, especially if it's an agency, they may have worked with their client, with the account manager, this type of thing, to develop the brief, figure out what the campaign key messages are going to be, what the calls to action are going to be, the campaign hashtag, what the paid media strategy going to be. All of those things were ironed out. They're all fully finished. And then, I just hit something. I hit enter and that closed the chat. Okay, back. I'm like on a totally different display, so I'm a little disoriented. And so when they finally come to you, they're like at 80% of the way of bringing this campaign to fruition. And so that may be sometimes why it's kind of confounding to you why brands are somewhat inflexible to changing certain aspects of the campaign or even negotiating for that matter. Again, they've probably already allocated that total budget for the campaign, whether it's $50K, $100K, $500K, $1 million, whatever it is. You may think, why is this brand being super difficult to negotiate? It's because they probably have certain parameters that they have to negotiate within, such that they cannot really move around too much. I mean, they may have a little wiggle room, but not too much. And so again, I just think it's like really helpful to have this healthy dose of objectivity when it comes to collaborating with brands, to understand like how complex it can be sometimes to bring these campaigns to life. A lot of what I talk about is like having empathy, understanding that there's people on the other sides of these emails. These people who work at brands, these people who work at agencies, they're people. They're just like you and me. They have families, they have aspirations, they have goals. And so if you can understand, and yes, I totally get that some brands are predatory, but in my experience, that's actually the minority. It's not the majority. That may not see, the common narrative, the kind of dominating, like kind of zeitgeist out there on the internet, TikTok and Twitter and all this stuff is like, you see people are only dragging brands out there. The analogy I give, it's like Yelp. Like, I feel like the majority of people, normal people, only go to Yelp to like leave a bad review. Like there's people who are like, that's what they do. They love leaving reviews and they love leaving positive reviews, and bless the Lord for them, because like we wouldn't have like accurate reviews if it wasn't for them. But I feel like the majority of people only think to like go and leave a review about a brand when they're actually disgruntled. And so I feel like the same logic can apply to, creators out there talking trash about brands. Is like, and so if you're like a casual creator who has never done a lot of brand partnerships and you see other prominent creators dragging brands and stuff like that, you're like, oh, I guess I have to steel myself whenever I collaborate with brands. I got to put this suit of armor on. I've got to like prepare myself for brands to screw me and all that stuff too. And I just don't, that's the dominating narrative, but that has not been my experience, having done hundreds of partnerships myself personally, as well as tons and tons through my agency. That just hasn't been my experience. And so I'm out here kind of banging this drum, letting people know that no, that's actually not how it works. In fact, the people who are out there, talking trash about brands, they're doing, I believe, a major disservice to their credibility and their reputation in the long run, especially if brand partnerships are like a major way in which they derive revenue. So anyways, I want to buck the narrative here. I want to change the conversation about what I believe is actually the truth of it. And I hope that that's helpful to y'all. So we've got Fio Bros tuning in here. Hustling Mama, good to see you. Rosie, we've got Hello Falcon. Marianne Cresp, good to see you here. Nestor Pool, Good Better Bex, good to see you here. Sonia, let's see here. Who else we got here in the chat? You know what I do? Oh, baby, thank you so much for you brought this water for me, didn't you? Thank you, honey. That's very kind of you. She's so sweet. Let me take a swig. Okay, while we're on the subject of this, Please drop your questions in the chat. You know that my live streams that I do every Friday, I talk about brand partnerships, negotiations, any questions you have about pitching, negotiating, putting together reports for brands, etc. Please drop those questions below. And I would be more than happy to answer those for you. We've got vlog epicness. Bree from Need the Recipe, good to see you here as well. Let's see here. Marianne says, I've moved over to YouTube so I can see you better. All right, good to hear it. Let's see. Okay, refreshingly, Christopher had a question here. In my experience in the tech space, is that brands have thresholds regarding budget. As a small creator for now, they really like my content, but their leaders push back on budget based on ROI. Even at 1 million views on YouTube, I'm still working to navigate asking for fees and fighting for that. Christopher, I'm really glad you brought this up, because one of the things I talk about a lot is understanding the campaign goals that brands have when they collaborate with creators. One of the things I talk about is my ARC framework, ARC. So there's 3 major campaign goal types that brands will care about when they want to collaborate with creators. The first is awareness. So the primary reason they want to work with a creator like you is there's a big product launch. They're launching in a new territory, let's say. They were in the UK and now they're in the US. And so they really just want to spread the word in as profound a way as possible. That's awareness, okay? The second is repurposing. So the primary reason that they want to collaborate with a creator like you is to take your content and use it in other ways. So maybe it's embedding it on their website, using it on a third-party partner's website like Amazon, an e-commerce partner, use it to run paid advertising, etc. And then the final campaign goal type in the ARC framework, ARC, is conversion. And so as you mentioned, the primary reason that they want to collaborate with you in that instance is to drive sales, right? App downloads, they want people to redeem a coupon. They want to do something, drive something very measurable, right? And the reason that it's so critical that you need to ascertain what the brand's goal is in those scenarios is because your pricing has to change. To your point, Christopher, this idea around brands being very fixated in certain industries on conversion, on ROI, right? It's because oftentimes they are looking at influencer marketing as the lowest of funnel campaign type, right? Which is conversions, right? And so they're thinking, okay, if we pay this creator 10K or 5K or whatever, we need to generate, let's say, 10K, right? Because the whole point of them doing influencer marketing is to drive a profit. They don't just want to break even. And so the formula that they are beholden to certain what are called CPA metrics, or cost per acquisition metrics, from their boss, or if it's an agency, from their superior. This is often sometimes called DR, or direct response marketing, or performance marketing. And there's these agencies, they're called performance marketing agencies. And so oftentimes they're saying, okay, we want to pay you a $10 CPA, which means that for every person that you can drive, that's our goal, is we want to pay $10 for those people. And so let's do a quick example. So let's say a brand reaches out, and a performance marketing agency reaches out, wants to collaborate with me at Creator Wizard. They say, Justin, we're a creator economy company. We're trying to get creators to join our app, and we can pay you $10 CPA. That's what they're telling me, right? And so in my head, I know that their actual CPA is probably like $5, right? They're hoping that they're going to pay me $10, but what they actually want to acquire users at is $5. Because remember, they don't just want to break even; they want to turn a profit. And so if they're thinking, okay, we are going to, if Justin gets 1,000 views on average for his Creator Wizard videos, we're hoping that 10% of those people who watch the video are going to actually sign up for a free trial of our software. And they know that if those 100 people sign up for a free trial, then 50% of those are going to convert into paying customers. They know that from historical data that they have, right? Okay, and so that's 50 people, right? So, and they know that the average person sticks around for, let's make it easy for math, the average paying customer sticks around for 10 months, and then they churn, meaning that they cancel their subscription. And let's say that those people, the cost of this software is $10 a month. So $10 a month times 10 months, the average lifetime value of that customer is 10 times 10, $100. So the max they're going to be willing to pay me is 50 paying customers times $100 LTV. Okay, so $5,000. That's the max that they're going to be willing to pay me. Okay, but again, remember, they want to make a profit. They don't just want to break even. Okay, and so it's really important to just kind of understand how the math works in these scenarios. And so this is the situation where they just may not be willing to negotiate with you based on the number that you're throwing out, because it just doesn't compute for the math that the napkin math that they're using to turn a profit on their side. And so again, you may have to walk away from deals like this because the math just doesn't check out. They may have a really, really aggressive, by the way, a lot of times they're not going to tell you the CPA. They're not going to tell you, even if you can ask, of course, sometimes they'll tell you, oh yeah, it's a $10 CPA or whatever. More often, they're going to be telling you in a conversion focused, direct response, performance marketing scenario, they're going to tell you metrics more like CPM or CPV. So CPV is like cost per view and CPM is cost per 1,000 impressions. Okay. And so those metrics are going to be the ones that they're going to throw around in those scenarios. And they're going to be like, oh, we want to pay you a $15 CPM or $30 CPM or 5-cent CPV or whatever it is. It's just kind of different terminology that you should be familiar with. And in those scenarios, you just may have to walk away from those deals. But again, the reason that it's so important to educate yourself about this is that you won't be as frustrated. You'll say, okay, you know what? This is a conversion focused campaign. This is a performance marketing agency. I get it. They're trying to turn a profit. I may not be the best candidate if that's what they're looking for, and I may just need to walk away from this deal. Because again, there's tons of, especially in certain industries, there are tons of performance marketing agencies out there, especially looking for YouTubers and podcasters. And they just kind of view you as a commodity. Look, let me explain to you how this works with a performance marketing agency. Okay. An agency, let's talk about it like a big brand, like Athletic Greens or HelloFresh, or some of these brands that are very, very, they are like the tried and true advertisers for a lot of podcasters, YouTubers, and stuff like that. They are spending millions of dollars a month doing this type of tactic, a direct response performance marketing tactic. And let me tell you a cold, hard truth about these marketers. They don't care about you. They don't care about your content. You are just a line item. You are a distribution channel that is going into, you are row 37 out of row 500. Out of all these creators, out of all these, they call them publishers, out of all these publishers, as long as your content fits the type of content that they're looking for, as long as your demographics are kind of in the right ranges for the types of customers that they're trying to hit, they don't care about you. So if your cost exceeds the CPA that they have, they're just going to interchange you with another creator. They don't give a crap. And so you may be very frustrated by this, but I'm just telling you, this is how it works. In this scenario where it's a performance marketing agency, and this is the tactic, it's the lowest part of the funnel. They're just trying to derive a direct return on investment. They don't care about you. Okay. And so your goal, in my opinion, is to go out there and find brands who do care. Because I guarantee you, there are brands that care about you in those scenarios. But critically, you're going to need to find the brands who care about probably those other two campaign goal types, the awareness as well as the repurposing, right? And so again, I implore you to just be objective about this, to not get frustrated, to just understand, flip the tables. If it was your brand, any brand worth their salt is running marketing campaigns at all parts of the funnel. You should probably remember that HelloFresh is not just doing low of funnel campaigns. They're running TV ads. Have you ever seen HelloFresh run broadcasts like OTT or linear TV ads? Yeah, they are. On Roku channel or broadcast TV, they're running those as well. But those are awareness-focused campaigns. And so HelloFresh has just determined that the areas in which they're going to devote their marketing spend for awareness is going to be things like broadcast TV. They're not going to be working with creators to do awareness-focused campaigns. Maybe sometimes they will, but they have determined that their brand, they're trying low of funnel tactics when they work with creators. So again, and not every brand believes that. Remember, like not every brand, a lot of brands will start to understand, okay, we do view creators could play a pretty critical role, when it comes to an awareness-focused campaign. But again, the larger that a brand gets, the more sophisticated their marketing, their media mix becomes. And so when you're a smaller brand or maybe a medium-sized brand, that's when you would look to creators, to influencers. Look, a lot of the up-and-coming brands, a lot of the D2C or direct-to-consumer brands, influencer marketing is like 80% of their overall marketing budget. Right? It's like a much, much larger percentage relative to some of these, larger incumbent brands. So it's just like educating yourself around how this stuff works, how the other side of the industry works, is going to give you a leg up when it comes to negotiating. Okay. Scott, okay, this is important. Scott Sanchez in here is a CMO. We've got Scott in here saying Justin dropping truth. Okay, so if you ever needed any credibility, like the fact that I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, just look here in the chat to Scott. Scott is an alumni of my Brand Deal Wizard program as well, but he's on the brand side. So interesting, right? So Scott took the program to kind of understand the other side of it from a creator's perspective as well. So I really, really applaud you, Scott. Good to see you here, man. All right, let me take a swig here. Yeah, Chris says, this is excellent information. I need to understand their motivation and be able to share data to match that need. This is gold, and I'll look into researching brands that use repurposing and awareness. Yes, 100%. Holy cow, She Fires. Oh my gosh. She Fires just left a $25 super chat. I've been waiting to share with you that you were instrumental in securing an end of year sponsor to start 2024. Thank you, Justin. Come on, let's get some round of applause for She Fires in the chat. Let me pull up this to give you give you your flowers here. I'm so proud of you. Can you let us know? Let us know more about this opportunity that you closed for 2024. We all want to congratulate you, and we always share our wins on Fridays. And so please let us know a little bit more about this end of year sponsor opportunity that you landed. I'm very, very proud of you. This is amazing. Yes, we've got a bunch of people. We've got Max saying congrats. We've got Marianne, great job. Hustling Mama got vlog epicness. We're all cheering for you here. So thank you so much for the super chat.
Wait,
that's very,
Rosie
very kind.
Here, Hustling Mama?
Yeah, Rosie's here right here.
Hey, Rosie! Happy New Year, my girl. I love you, Rosie.
Come sit in here so you can.
What a beautiful life you had, Rosie. I saw your year end. Happy New Year. I heard Hustling Mama. I said.
and She Fires just gave us a $25 super.
Yay! She Fires.
Look, you were instrumental in securing an end of year sponsor to start 2024.
Hey, where the money reside, where the money reside. Do you guys remember that guy who got out of his car and he started singing "Where the money reside, where the money reside"? Do you guys remember? I still sing that song.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find that man, and he needs to keep selling those cars because he came out of the car, the trunk, and he started singing "Where the money reside, where the money reside."
Rosie says, "Adopt me." Yeah.
Rosie, we could be sisters. What you mean adopt me? You adopt me. Y'all be having fun.
Honey, I just noticed we're both in all black. Like, look at.
Y'all,
Look
Justin got me hiking today. This is what happens when you write on your dating profile you like nature. You actually have to mean that you like nature.
It's funny. We were driving around and it was like pouring rain yesterday. And I was like just like looking at these, like driving off and like pulling off at these vistas, and I was like, look, it's so beautiful. It's to them, it's like another vista.
No. I will happily go to every vista with him.
Sweet.
Okay. Exactly. Oh, Rosie, we just had movie night yesterday instead of today, but we're doing movie night again today for the boys because they're on vacation. Every day is movie night for them, pretty much.
Scott says, my entire closet is all black. It's the NYC uniform. Yeah.
Scott, see, here's the thing, Scott. I feel like New Yorkers know how to dress. I feel like, us suburban parents from the Bay Area, we don't know how to dress. We think that Patagonia jackets is that's it, the end all, but it's not. One of my goals for 2024 is to learn how to dress. I might hire a stylist. I need to learn.
I think you dress fantastic.
What? This is just the workout gear.
Snatch to the glides.
Not even snatch. Oh my god. Yeah. Anyways, hi Rosie. Just want to say hi. I heard Rosie and I said, wait a second. Happy New Year, you guys.
Yes, happy. Thanks for coming in.
Unless you got any questions.
Yeah, you got any questions? Come on, why don't you sit on my lap? Like, let's do this together. It'll be fun.
I was editing a reel. Like a self-care reel.
All right, let's see. There was a question up here. Maybe you could. She Fire says real quick. I scoured their social media and I identified some areas that had some voids and weak spots where I can help. I asked for contact via IG and sent an email. That's how she got the deal. That's crazy. We've talked about that a ton, about how you can do that sleuthing. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Super cool. All right, let's see. Bronx Banter says, I'm currently at 1,000 subs and I need help getting traction or on just starting a negotiation on a brand deal of any degree. Let's see. I've reached out to brands, done research, but I get completely ignored. So Bronx Banter, let us know in the chat. What are you saying in these pitches? That to me, that's like the most critical thing to understand is like, ensuring that we're actually pitching them something that they're interested in. Is critical. So maybe you can drop a little bit more info about that. By the way, if any of you, I have a free pitching masterclass. If you haven't checked it out, it's at creatorwizard.com/masterclass. And so if you haven't taken that, definitely check that out because I talk a lot about my pitching methodology that'll potentially help you. Bronx Banter.
Yes, take
All
that
right.
masterclass.
Yes. Okay,
Someone said
what?
that hiking is a good use of my energy.
It actually is.
It is.
April has a lot of energy. And I love
do.
it.
I just be jumping.
Yeah. Okay. I dropped the link in the chat. I was gonna. Someone else had a. I'm about to. I know. I opened the windows and it's like I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my gosh! Pardon me. Let's see here. There was a question in IG that I think I missed a while back. Let me see here. I think I'm not gonna be able to see it. It's too far back. Yeah. So, any questions you have, drop it in the chat. Oh yeah, Kristen Chinoa said, yes, I should take that ASAP. Yeah, I just dropped the link in the chat. I think you should be able to see it. creatorwizard.com/masterclass. Oh, I have thank you. Yes, April's my hype woman right now. I have another really exciting announcement. I am going to be a headline speaker of something called the Hey Creator Summit, happening from January 22nd to the 26th. I'm going to find the link real quickly so I can drop it in the chat. Let me get it for you. It is, hold on, let me get you the right link. I believe it's heycreator.com/Justin Moore. Yeah, that's it. Hey Creator, let me grab it here and I'm going to drop it in the chat. Okay, so this is a totally free summit. heycreator.com/Justin Moore. So definitely check that out. It's going to be, again, it's a fully virtual summit and it's totally free.
Wow.
I'm going to be speaking alongside folks like Justin Welsh, Nathan Barry.
We love him.
Yeah, Alexis Tech Miller from Circle, Rachel Rogers from
Jay
Hello7, Jay Klaus from Creator Science, Pat Flynn from SPI, Bonnie Christine. So yeah, definitely check that out. Again, it's going to be like amazing. Like the people who are behind it are super great people, and definitely check that one out. So I dropped the link there. I'm really excited. Wiz Queen asks, how are you live on multiple platforms at a time? You should include TikTok too. Yeah, so sometimes I do go live on TikTok as well. The problem is I don't have the privileges to go live. So I use a software called Restream, which allows me to multi-stream on a bunch of different platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, etc. But you can't go live. They won't let you sync TikTok unless you have the rights to do it, and so there's only certain TikTokers that have those privileges right now, and I don't have that. So I have like on Instagram, I have it like just set up right here, like on my phone right now. So yeah, I use something called Restream. By the way, if you want to check Restream out, I have my affiliate link. You could just go to creatorwizard.com/Restream.
Period.
Let me actually, I'm just like, I actually just like, I set this up recently because people ask me all the time and I'm always like, oh, I don't have the link. But here we go. I've got it right now. I just like creatorwizard.com and it'll redirect you with my affiliate link. Get that link. Drop it. Go check it out. You can sign up for a free trial. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Bree from Need the Recipe says, I have a win. I was on a call with a brand and there was a misunderstanding where they thought I was doing 4 recipes instead of 3. Instead of being upset, I said, I'll do that 4th one free as a bonus. Wow, Bree. That's very, very kind of you. And I bet they're going to remember that. That's a really, and especially if it's like kind of a non-trivial, I mean, that is work though. So that is very, very kind of you, but they're definitely going to remember that. And, you probably helped your brand contact out in a pinch because they probably promised to their superior or their boss, if it's an agency or their client, that it was going to be 4. And so, yeah, that definitely happened to us, on a previous deal. And we, remember where we were flying across country and there was a miscommunication and we ultimately made it work. Yeah, that was a big.
Yeah, we made it work. I got to do a commercial, so why not? I loved it. We made it work. I was blessed to have live that life and that opportunity. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. And then when I finished filming, I fell asleep so early. Yeah. Because it was an early morning. I don't know what time you dropped me off. It was
4:30.
It was like in New Jersey.
Call time was like 4:30.
Call time was 4:30. I did my own makeup because I like doing my own makeup, honestly. Sometimes they require that they do the makeup, but I just feel more myself when I do my own makeup because I've had times where I didn't look like myself when they did my makeup.
Yeah.
You just got to include that in the contract.
Yeah. Scott says TikTok fears the creator wizard. I think that must be what it is, I think. Let's see.
Y'all, we had the best fish everything yesterday. The food was busting.
The food was busting.
It was
so good. We had the best. We're in a place where they have really good seafood.
Can I read the comments?
Yes, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see here. Yeah, what are they saying here?
I'm so happy for your wins, my friend.
I know, it's so cool.
Your wins are awesome. Let's see. I like to see who's here.
Let's see here. Yeah, we've got...
Hi, it's Dear Brown Girl. Hi, T-shirt millionaires. Oh my gosh, Justin tells me about you.
I didn't even know that we could... I didn't even
the
know
wheelchair
that you could
dad.
do that. Like,
yeah,
you like pull it up.
Yeah.
This is how much of a noob I am.
You click on the number and then you see all the friends that are watching.
Let's see here. Let's see. Meredith says, also, I work with the Wheelchair Dad, and we recently submitted an application to a campaign with rates using your calculator. Oh, yeah, because Wheelchair Dad's in my course. We were super scared to hit send because the rates were 6 figures. Well, you know what? I mean, given a lot of the, the metrics that I've seen on a lot of the videos that you guys are putting out there, I mean, the thing that I like to say about the calculator is that you can use it as a baseline. Bye, baby. You use it as a baseline, right? There may be some flex that you ultimately determine that you want to do, whether it's, being more conservative or actually charging more than the calculator says. What I found, I actually didn't have a calculator for a long time, but a lot of people just kept asking over and over. I just don't even directionally, I don't know how much to charge. And so the big difference that my calculator incorporates is the ARC framework that I mentioned earlier, and the awareness, the repurposing, the conversions. Because again, what I teach is that a lot of what you need to be charging depends on the brand's goal. Obviously, there's the other piece of it, which is the do rule, which is the deliverables, the usage rights, and the exclusivity, which is also incorporated into the calculator. But I thought long and hard about all of the ways in which we've priced deals over the years, as well as how I handled things through the agency. There was never really I was never able to reliably use these other calculators that existed. And so I kind of created the one that I always wanted to exist. And so, even though it's scary to kind of hit send on pitches and applications where, you're charging a lot more than you're used to, I love that because I feel like it stretches your imagination of actually what's possible. And so, keep me posted on how that goes. Let's see here. Liz Bianco has a question here in the chat. Good to see you here, Liz. I've got a brand that continues to reach out with affiliate opportunities, upping the percentage, but I'd rather do a deal for a sponsorship. How do you phrase that conversation? So the way in which I, would recommend, conversing with a brand who seems fixated on affiliate marketing, the first thing that I'll mention is that it may all be in vain. And I think it's a good reminder that you can absolutely strategize. However, this brand may determine that the only way in which they want to compensate partners is through affiliate means, where they have to outlay no capital upfront, and they have this little army of content creators out there, this little army of affiliates, and they only have to outlay capital when a sale is actually generated. And there are a lot of brands who believe that people should just create content for us for free, or I'll be out there, spreading the word about this, and we only want to pay them when they make a sale. I believe that that's very short-sighted, but there are brands who think that, and so that's the one thing I will say is that just prepare yourself. Just go into this knowing that that's a potential outcome. Okay. However, knowing that your objective going into this. And knowing potentially that that's their mindset, that your job is to educate them about why compensating you for this collaboration makes sense upfront, right? Because if you think about it as a creator, I like to say you're a production company in a box. to some degree, right? You are, the creative team. You think up the idea, you figure out, you plan it, right? You do the ideation, you distill the talking points and the key messages and the way in which you need to talk about a brand to, convince your audience that this is going to be a good thing for them to invest in or to patronize or to try out. So that takes work to like actually think about the idea, right? Then you're the production team. You actually create the asset, you film it probably at the same time. You're the camera crew. Then once the asset is done, you edit the content, right? Then you market the content and you distribute it. You have an organic distribution channel. They don't have to go, like, think about it from a brand's perspective. If they didn't hire you, they would have to go out there and hire a production agency or production company probably, who would then have to hire actors and actresses to star in this content. Then once the asset was created, the production company would have to edit that asset. And then they don't have a distribution channel unless they pay Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whoever to actually run this ad. And so I think I love drawing this parallel, and you can have this conversations with brands in a way that is tactful, not being too on the nose about that piece of it, but helping them understand that there is a non-trivial amount of effort required to actually generate these assets and distribute it, right? And not only that, you putting your stamp of approval on a brand, you have built up that reputation and that integrity over a long time period with your audience. And so are you going to let any random brand have that stamp of approval, have that reputation for $0? No, they have to pay you for that privilege for you to share it with your audience. And a lot of creators think, well, yeah, but I want to get my foot in the door. So I'm either going to do it for affiliate only initially or for a very small amount. And I understand that. Maybe there is some value in getting the kind of repetitions and understanding, what the expectations are when you collaborate with the brand. I understand that there's value there, but it's really important to understand what you're bringing to the table when you converse with these brands. So I hope that's helpful, Liz, and just know going into it, you can do the education, and I'm a big fan of that. I think educating brands, especially when you're starting out, there's a lot of value to that, because a lot of, especially smaller and medium-sized brands, will not quite understand. The other thing too to understand is that like there's probably a lot of other creators who are being like, sure, yeah, I'll talk about you for free, but and so they just think all creators are cool with it. And so it may take you leading the charge, being out at the front of the pack and saying, actually, no, you need to compensate us accordingly because of the following reasons. It may take that conversation for them to ultimately realize like, oh, okay, actually, maybe we need to reevaluate how we're approaching influencer marketing. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful, Liz. Let me take a swig. All right. Let's see here. Let me see who we got here. We got the podcast space tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you speak at Evolutions Podcast Movement. We've got the Edelweiss House Princessa 2133, the Fur Runner Adrian You Fly. Let's see here. We've got Lou from Reluctant DIYers. Good to see you here, man. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Bronx. Bronx Banter says a little bit more information about the pitches that he's feeling, he or she is feeling that they're getting ghosted. I noticed a brand needed help with brand awareness and contacted addressing that, and I expressed interest, yet the combo completely fell off. This isn't just a one-time thing, but it's happened with about 3 pitches already, so I know I need to fix something. Sorry for the spam. Okay, so a couple things. 3 pitches is nowhere near enough. Okay. So you need to address, like, there's a couple of different aspects of pitching that you need to think about. Okay. And if you have not taken my free pitching masterclass, I would absolutely recommend it. So the first thing is what you say, the substance, the meat of it, right? And so yes, absolutely. If your pitches are off the mark and you're not hearing back, then that's absolutely a problem. The other thing, the middle component is like who you're sending it to. Obviously, you have to make sure that you're sending it to the right person and you're not getting ghosted just because you're sending it to the wrong person. That's another aspect. But the other thing too is just understanding that to some degree this is a numbers game. What I am not saying is you should have a scattershot approach where you're sending out 100 pitches and the only thing that you're changing in those pitches is the name of the person or the brand's name. That's not what I'm saying. But to some degree, there is a volume aspect to this. You need to be sending out enough pitches to get some sort of a large enough sample to know, to be able to evaluate like what is and isn't working. One of the things that I did early on when I was, trying to figure out how to pitch, because remember, like we made all these same mistakes early on when we were doing our, when we were first reaching out to brands, almost 15 years ago. What I would do is I would A/B test, for example, different subject lines, or A/B test the types of things that I was saying in the body of the email, and start to understand what was and wasn't working. And so 3, I'll just say it, like 3 is not enough. There's no way that that's nearly enough to start determining a trend or understanding what's actually is and isn't working with respect to what you're saying. Again, I talk about what I talk about in the masterclass is the rope pitching method, which is the methodology that I teach. R stands for your pitch has to be relevant to a campaign that they're either currently running or have run in the past. O means that you can tie your pitch back to organic work that you've already published to illustrate that your audience has affinity for this brand and this product. P stands for proof, so you can illustrate how you've helped other brands achieve results. And E stands for easy to execute, when the brand says, oh yeah, this sounds interesting. And so I go into extreme detail about how to actually do the rope pitching method in my masterclass. So creatorwizard.com/masterclass. Full disclosure, I do talk about my paid program at the end of that. Totally optional. It's not something you need to enroll. Those of you who have taken the free masterclass, you could probably share in the chat. It's very useful. Just the masterclass in and of itself, the free portion of it. So don't feel obligated to sign up if you're not ready for it. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Bronx Banter says this is great feedback and reassuring. Of course, glad that was helpful. I did miss a question from a little further up from someone. Let me scroll back up here. Where was the question? Good to see Sarah Dawn. Good to see you here. I swear there was another question here and maybe it was deleted because that's so weird. I swear to God, I saw another question. Weird. Okay. All right. We've got Growing Green Landscapes tuning in. Tennis Parents Journey. We've got Luke 360. Good to see you here. All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about this whole idea of like 2024 hitting the ground running, collaborating with brands. I get a question a lot of like, I would much prefer to do longer term deals than one-off deals because that's the dream, right? Of course, I would much prefer not having to like be out there back on the street again, hustling for spare change. Oh, a new brand over here. You want to collaborate with me? You want to collaborate with me? It's like this feeling. It's this churn and burn feeling that a lot of creators have around brand partnerships, which frankly is why a lot of creators don't take sponsorships as seriously as a reliable income when they, for their creator business, they think, working with brands, it's great when you can get those deals, but you can just never really rely on that income because you never know when they're going to come. And this is a myth that I dispel in my Brand Deal Wizard program and just in a lot of my content is that that's 100% false. What you have to do is think of brand partnerships like a sales pipeline. It's something that I call your sponsorship wheel. And if you are not constantly nurturing these brand relationships and pitching them, once you finish this first deal, pitching them on the next idea, then of course it's going to feel like brand deals are unpredictable and they're all these kind of one-off deals. There's a lot of subtlety to this, kind of oversimplifying it right now. But when I ask a lot of creators who join the program, like, okay, well, what percentage of your opportunities are one-offs versus longer-term things, or have you actually pitched to brands that you collaborated with, to collaborate again on another campaign? Almost without exception, what I hear from most creators is that they just simply do not pitch brands on another, or they don't circle back with those initial brands to ask how the campaign went to be able to pitch a future deal. And the reason that they don't do that is that they're scared that the campaign didn't go well. Let me say that again. The reason that a lot of creators are not getting recurring or longer term deals is that they do not have the humility and they do not have the objectivity to go back to the brand at the end of the first campaign and ask them how it went, because they cannot handle it if the brand were to come back to them and say, hey, it actually didn't go well, because now they're going to be at a loss for words. And so they'd rather put their head in the sand and not know how it went and just going to go like this and just pretend like it went well. If the brand doesn't reach out to me and says it didn't go well, then it must have gone well. Or in reality, a lot of brands, a lot of creators have this like fear that, oh man, they know they like accept the money, but they're just concerned. They're really feeling in their gut that there's no way that the brand is going to be able to drive $10,000 worth of sales or $10,000 worth of new business or something like that, right? And so they just don't reach out to the brand. And so this is the number one thing that, if I can implore you to do anything that will actually fundamentally transform your business, this is the number one thing that'll take your sponsorship income to the next level. And again, I talk about a lot how to do this in the Analyze section of my Brand Deal Wizard program. By the way, if you want to check out Brand Deal Wizard, just go to branddealwizard.com. In fact, let me drop a link here if any of you are interested in checking that out, because I talk a lot more about actually tactically how to do this. Let me copy this here and paste it in the chat. There we go. And so this idea around, having the humility, putting together what I call a post-campaign report, which summarizes both the qualitative and the quantitative insights of how the campaign went, is just going to fundamentally change the game for you and allow you to pitch critically the next collaboration idea in that report. Let's see here. Scott says, I can't say enough good things about the Brand Deal Wizard course that Justin runs. That's super kind of you, Scott. I really, really appreciate it. It was such a joy having you in the program, and that really means a lot to me. Sheepfire says, Justin, your recap report helps touch base with the brand on wins and challenges and also discusses re-engagement opportunities. Yes. Liz says, I wasn't ready for your course when I signed up, but it was the best thing I've done for my future income. That is so, so kind of you, Liz. I'm just going to copy this. I gotta take a screenshot of this. Anytime you guys say really kind things to me about the program, I always want to save them because it's just like such a kind thing. And this is one thing I'm going to teach you too. It's kind of meta, is that anytime you get feedback from a brand about how great it is to work with you, whether it's via email or something like that, save the heck out of all that stuff, because that can come in super handy for kind of as testimonials when you're trying to collaborate with new brands. I talk about the difference between post-campaign reports and case studies in the program too. Those are different things. I love geeking out over this topic because I never get tired of it. It's very fun to me. All right. All right. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about, 2024, hitting the ground running January, is understanding how you can pitch to brands that you can be their secret weapon for the entire year. So one of the problems that marketers oftentimes have when working with creators is that creators are not reliable. I ran an agency for many years, and I would say if I were to estimate of all of the partners that we collaborated with on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis, I would say probably 20 to 25% of those people were really, really good. They always hit deadlines. They were very communicative. The assets that they ultimately delivered for, review on the first round were like nearly perfect every time. They incorporated all the key messages properly. All the calls to actions were, they hit it with aplomb, like 20 to 25%. So think about that. Of all the people that we worked with on an annual basis, 1 out of 4 creators were fantastic at it. And what do you think we did? We almost always included those people in every single pitch or proposal that we could think of, because we knew that if we were working with, and we were collaborating with a new brand or a new agency, a media agency, a larger agency that subcontracted our influencer agency, we knew that we could deliver on what we were promised. it was always somewhat of a roll of the dice when we would reach out to and work with a new creator, because we just didn't know how it was ultimately going to go down. And so the reason that I bring this up is that if you can be that creator, if you can wrap your brand contact in a warm and fuzzy hug to let them know that here's all the reasons that I'm different than other creators you may have worked with in the past. Because remember, if they've done influencer marketing before, or if it's like a major tactic of theirs, then they know, they have experience. It's probably, by the way, I've spoken with lots of other people in this industry on the brand side, as well as on the agency side. Like, they have similar percentages too. 20, 25, 30% of people are, that's really it, of like, really, really great, partners, right? And by the way, on the other side of it, the reason that this is the case is that most creators don't take sponsorship seriously. They just don't. They think it's, they don't look at it as a business transaction. They have an ego about the whole thing. They don't understand that, yeah, they may be at the pinnacle of their viewership or their listenership or their subscribership, depending on your platform, whatever. They may be at that now, but oh, the mighty fall. Right. And they think that they can be kind of entitled about this whole thing. One of the truisms that I've talked about over the years is that if you looked at, my wife and I's quote unquote influence over the last, 15 years or whatever, probably the pinnacle where we were at like the height of our viewership, when we were getting hundreds of thousands of views on our YouTube videos, was probably 7 or 8 years ago. 9 years ago, something like that, when, for vloggers, which is what, on YouTube, which is what we did for many years, there was so much interest in like the pregnancy journey and giving birth and buying a house and like a lot of these life milestone. Every content vertical has these things, right? So let's say for tech, like it's, the milestones is like new releases of products, right? So it's like every niche has kind of something similar to this. And I think what a lot of creators don't realize is that like, unless you're very intentional and very serious about planning this stuff, like you can fall pretty precipitously in terms of your influence and your revenue, right? And so one of the things I talk about a lot is that even though our quote unquote influence may have waned significantly in terms of our social reach, our income hasn't, right? Because we have established to the brand partners that we collaborate with the quality of our work product, right? Our product is knowing that when these brands reach out to us, they know what they're going to get. We're going to be very communicative. We're going to hit every talking point. We're going to be in that 20 to 25% that I mentioned. And in fact, we're actually in a much smaller pool of people that they continue to collaborate with, probably in the 1 to 5%, right? Because again, like, if you looked at our business from the outside in, people would be like, how are you getting this many sponsorships? I don't quite understand it. Well, it's because of, they know that they can come to April and Justin in a pinch. If someone like falls out of a deal, like they have a very, very short list of people that they know, that they've worked with before, that they know can turn stuff around very quickly. They don't have to get on tons of briefing calls with us. They know that they can just send us the brief. Here's the, they just have maybe a quick phone call with us. Hey, we need this in like 48 hours. They're going to pay us for that, for that quick turnaround, of course, but they know that we can do it based on, our results in the past, right? And so if you can just have this mindset of like, how can you be that person and convince brands that you're that person, like you're gonna be able to create a really robust livelihood for yourself. I guarantee it. Okay. All right. It's Miss Lacey says, hey, Justin, happy New Year to you, April, and your babies. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. Sam Holland, good to see you here. Hannah Joel, good to see you here. Harrow Style, Cigar Sony 1991, Professor Gadgets, good to see you here. We've got Russell Muscle TV tuning in on YouTube as well. And so, yeah, so just to kind of put a bookend on that part of the conversation, if you can be that person, if you can be the person who brands can rely on, and you may be able to have this conversation even if a brand is coming inbound to you for a one-off opportunity and say, hey, can you generate these assets for us? We're doing this New Year, New You campaign or something for January, February, Q1, this type of thing. When that campaign ultimately wraps, going back to that post-campaign report, and could say, hey, this was so great. I can actually do this for you on a monthly basis for the entirety of 2024. You don't have to go out there and recruit, go through the whole recruitment process every single month or every single quarter. I can actually do this for you on an ongoing basis. I can deliver, maybe it's even more assets than you delivered on that initial campaign. 5, 10, 15 photos, videos, for you every single month. Because remember, that brand contact may not have even known that you would be interested in an engagement like that. And it takes you actually reaching out and proposing something like that for the brand to be like, oh, I never even thought of that. I did not know you'd even be interested in something like that. Because remember, they have experience working with creators who just couldn't care less, right? They pay them and then the brand gets ghosted. They never hear from that creator again, right? And so if you're the one who is super engaged in the outcome of this initial engagement, they're going to now feel a lot more comfortable paying you because remember, remember how we were talking at the beginning of this live stream about how brands and agencies are made up of people? They also don't want to have egg on their face to their boss or their client if it's an agency. They don't want to have to go out there. That's why oftentimes it's harder to pitch a brand in the very first engagement. It's harder to convince a brand to partner with you on a longer term thing. You may be, let's do a 12-month deal, 6-month deal, and they've never worked with you. They're like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know if they're like, they don't want to get into the first month of a 12-month engagement and realize that you're terrible to work with. It takes forever to hear back from you. It takes 2-3 emails to extract every piece of information that they need, this type of thing. And what a nightmare, right? And so you have to be able to convince your contact that you're going to be a reliable person to work with, right? And so they don't want to have to go to their boss and be like, look, I know I signed this 12-month deal, and I said it was going to be really good, but it's actually turned into a nightmare. They don't want to have to go to that, to their boss to have that conversation because they're going to look like an idiot, right? And that may mean that they're going to get passed over for the next time, next round of promotions. They're thinking, again, they're people. So if you can have the empathy, if you can think about how can I put this person, my contact, in the best position for them to succeed, then they're going to remember that when push comes to shove, when you're pitching them on the next collaboration idea for this longer term thing. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Guys, I can't believe the live stream. We're already at time. Hope you enjoyed this kind of impromptu live stream. I'm on vacation right now, but was just feeling inspiration. Thank you so much for being such a big part of my life. I've been doing these weekly live streams for the better part of 3 years now. And I've come to really value doing them. And I see, people who are here every single week and putting in the work, and students, alumni in my programs, a lot of folks who aren't alumni in my programs. I appreciate each and every one of you equally. And I just can't wait to be a part of your journey, even if it's a small role that I play. I can't tell you how much fulfillment I get out of seeing the wins that you drop every single week, because I know how transformative it can become. Maybe it's, the path to you quitting your full-time job, if quitting your 9-to-5 job, if that's what you want, or it's you, maybe it's hiring your first employee, or whatever it is. The fact that I can play a small role along that journey is the most fulfilling thing for me. So anyways, thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you next week, for the next live stream on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Peace.